Good evening and welcome to The Big Fight, a show that is young at 22, the oldest running debate show on Indian news television. I'm Sanket Upadhyay. The Bharatiya Janata Party has formed 4 governments in the recently concluded state assembly elections. In Uttar Pradesh, they only on this Friday formed their government with a remarkable mandate that in 37 years an incumbent chief minister has come to power again, a jumbo cabinet also sworn in. But the Aam Aadmi Party too managed a spectacular win in Punjab. Lots of questions were raised on the Congress's position as the principal opposition player, with some leaders of the grand old party actually suggesting that they would be willing to work as a junior partner with other political parties in this opposition space. Now, as far as this space is concerned, there is a burning desire to occupy and fill some sort of an anti-Modi political vacuum. Kejriwal's speech in the Vidhan Sabha on Thursday, for instance, where he took on directly against the Prime Minister, mentioning a 56-inch chest, bringing in the Kashmir files, suggesting that the government has to take refuge or seek refuge in a Vivek Agnihotri movie. Mamata Banerjee in West Bengal, on the other hand, after her spectacular win in 2021, and despite the Birbhum horror, even now, continues with her attack against the Prime Minister, thus challenging the BJP. Akhilesh, on the other hand, in Uttar Pradesh, has decided to limit himself to Uttar Pradesh as of this moment. He does not want to play this national card, does not want to stay in the Lok Sabha, wants to go back to the drawing board in Uttar Pradesh for a Yogi versus Akhilesh fight. So the big question is that whether this opposition strategy is going to work or not. And on The Big Fight, we asked this question directly. Kejriwal and Mamata versus Modi and Akhilesh versus Yogi. Can smaller parties fill the opposition vacuum ahead of 2024? Or is this wishful thinking that they will be able to, in the opposition space, survive and thrive and exist and blossom without the Congress party? Let's quickly put this to a discussion on The Big Fight. Let me introduce our guests. We have Mr. Pawan Khera, spokesperson of the Congress Party, Om Prakash Mishra, spokesperson of the Trinamool Congress. We also have Dr. Kafil Khan, a Samajwadi Party leader and an MLC candidate. Thank you very much for joining us. Jasmine Shah, spokesperson of the Aam Aadmi Party, is also now with us. And as we go along, we'll have more people joining us. We'll introduce them. But let's start, as is the format of this show, with the first punch, where each of you speakers get 1 minute of uninterrupted time to make your opening comment. Mr. Khera, we'll begin with you. Your time starts now.
Sanket, if you were to categorize regional parties in India, and I'm not speaking purely as a Congress spokesperson, but I'm also speaking as a student of politics in India. One is identity-based regional parties. Most of them are identity-based, whether it's linguistic identity, regional identity, caste identity, different identities. And the other category, which is mostly vacant right now, is an issue-based party. There was an issue-based party, which was the Aam Aadmi Party, which came on the issue of Jan Lokpal and then forgot its issues. And now I don't know which category it fits into. It's definitely not an issue-based party. And of course, doesn't have an ideology. So when you come back to all these identity-based regional parties, at least in the North India, these are one-generation wonders. You will not see regional parties in the North especially, and even in the South, with some exception in Andhra and in Tamil Nadu, of regional parties doing well in second and third generations. So I don't think the future of regional parties, I'm not talking again, I repeat, I'm not talking purely as a Congress spokesperson, but as a student of politics. The future of regional parties in India is not as hunky-dory or as secure or as safe as some of us would like to believe. They're not.
Khera, you can elaborate
at the end of the day.
Once I come back to you. Actually, the one minute assigned to you is over. I'm going to come back to you. You can make your point. You can complete it a little later. Jasmine Shah of the Aam Aadmi Party. Your opening comments.
Saket, I'm not going to use my time to criticize any other party because all that Congress does today is criticize AAP and what is wrong with everything else. Uh, this mandate that the people of Punjab have given AAP makes it very clear that today, if there is any new political formation that people hold hope in, people expect that their real life's issues will be taken care of and things will change, it is the Aam Aadmi Party. And calling Aam Aadmi Party as a regional party just shows the helplessness of Congress because we are the only party which has within a decade in the history of India, within a decade of its formation, formed governments in two states. And it's very clear why. Today, if there is anywhere in the country, if people expect their governments to change their schools, improve hospitals, to reduce corruption, it is the only Aam Aadmi Party. Congress does not stand for that. BJP doesn't stand for that. They're always debating about this ideology, but do not really focus on issues that matter to the day-to-day lives of people.
Jasmine ji.
So that is why AAP is the only hope that people see.
Sure. Your 1 minute time is over. Maybe when we start this debate, we are going to ask you this question that Mr. Kheda asked of the Aam Aadmi Party. What happened to your original promise on the plank on which you came to power? That is the Jan Lokpal. I don't see a lot of conversation around that. Kafil Khan, good to have you on the show. Kafil Khan, making his debut on The Big Fight as a Samajwadi Party leader. Your opening comments, Dr. Khan.
See, Sanket, I want to correct you that Honorable Akhilesh ji has resigned from Lok Sabha, not to go away from Lok Sabha, actually to prepare for 2024. I have to... Hello.
Yes, please carry on.
Can you hear me?
Yes, carry on.
Yeah. Okay. So there are 80 seats in Uttar Pradesh, and we are concentrating on those 80 seats. We have got 12% jump in our vote share. We have got 2.5 times seats. So we are concentrating on 80 seats, and I believe that yes, ultimately the Congress will be the main opposition party even in 2024 because they have a large structure all over India. But yes, we are going to, if we get around 60 to 70 seats, we can stop BJP, what they're calling it is a done deal. And it's not. I'm finishing my sentence that it's not a done deal.
Okay, I'll give you time to elaborate on why you think it is not a done deal. But Om Prakash Mishra, yes, your opening comments.
Shankar ji, you know very well that no political party can be disrespectful of political geography of the country. And opposition is plural. And there is opposition in Jharkhand, there is opposition in Tamil Nadu, there is opposition in Punjab, there is definitely opposition here in West Bengal. And so therefore, we actually think in terms of cooperation, we think in terms of collaboration. And Congress party, if it thinks that the regional parties are no good, then it is the regional parties that they have tied up with, whether in Maharashtra, or whether in Tamil Nadu, whether in Jharkhand as of today. And we think that all of us together can definitely defeat the BJP. And for that, we actually have must cooperate, and we must have an agenda-based opposition to BJP. 2024, enough time is there. Akhilesh Yadav is there. RJD, Tejaswi Yadav is there. DMK is there. Of course, Congress party is also there.
Okay.
Think in terms of cooperation and collaboration.
Okay.
Not think in terms of any jamindari.
Sure, Mr. Mishra. Sujata Pandey, good evening. Your comments, ma'am.
Yes, so politics is all about possibility, Sanket, if it carries the voice of the voter. Now, in a democratic structure, it is good to have a strong opposition. In Indian context, since we are talking about the regional parties, which are Congress, plus the regional parties which do not have an alliance with the BJP, those form the opposition. Now, elections are fought on two things primarily. One, a strong narrative and a common, unified, strong face. Now, when we talk about these regional parties filling the vacuum, why we have to understand that there are leaders who have a strong narrative and they have a strong face in the regional domain. But the same, the strength becomes a weakness when you see it from a national perspective. Then these leaders, even if assuming that they come together in a attempt to make to fill the vacuum as they did in 2019, and it did not work, and they try again, they have not built a consensus on who will lead the pack. We see the infighting every day with Mamata, whether it is Mamata, whether it is Kejriwal, etc., etc. Now, with the cadre also, they are also divided based upon the ideology in the face. Can you imagine a TMC cadre supporting a CPM cadre to have a Mamata face for the PM? So there are, and also the very important thing, none of these regional parties fulfill the EC criteria of becoming of being a national party. They do not have the representation neither in the Lok Sabha, neither in the assembly seat, or neither they are representing the more than 4 states. So it's only Congress.
Okay. 1 minute time over. Sujata ji, I'm going to come back to you. Aditi Fadnis, political editor of the Business Standard, is also with us. Ms. Fadnis, what's your view? As far as the opposition space is concerned, let me just repeat the question because you joined late. Our question is that do you think that the smaller parties are attempting to fill an anti-Modi vacuum? Or is this just wishful thinking on the part of these smaller parties to imagine a formation minus the Congress?
Well, it does seem a bit difficult to imagine a formation minus the Congress or a Congress-mukt opposition space because the Congress is more than just a party. It's it's been there in the consciousness of people, and not everyone has seen Aam Aadmi Party. Not everyone trusts a party which is born yesterday or day before. So the fact is that the Congress does strike a chord among a whole generation of people. But that said, I would also like to say that this election has proved that smaller parties' course seems to have run, in the sense that the smaller parties which used to use their position in a hung assembly or an assembly which had not given a very decisive verdict in favor of bigger parties, they used to arbitrage, use that as their presence as arbitrage to gain mileage. And that in this election is not immediately.
Sure. Dr. Kafil Khan, let me now come to you and ask you, in Uttar Pradesh, when you say that BJP's success is not a done deal ahead of 2024, what gives you this confidence? You see, because internally, and I know this for a fact, in the Samajwadi Party, there is a reason why Mr. Akhilesh Yadav chose to go back to UP. Because there is a calculation in the Samajwadi Party that you cannot consider the Muslims and the Yadavs a done deal, that they are going to continuously remain with you. They may have done that in 22, but this may be not the reality in 24.
No. I think we have got 12% more votes, and now the party is working on to create the demand among the population, which is got misinformation about the whatever information feeded by Bharatiya Janata Party about Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas and Sabka Vishwas, and that we have 2 years to work on 2024, and we are concentrating on those 80 seats to get maximum out of that, and we are at least aiming 60 to 70 seats, so we can play a bigger role in center. And again I will say the Congress will be the one part, like a bigger part, and because they have. So
you agree that you cannot have a Congress-mukt opposition.
No, not at all. I agree with ma'am, because what she said, that is an ideology, and they have a long and very bigger.
Correct. And now this is not the calculation of a Trinamool Congress or an Aam Aadmi Party who have. Yes, Mr. Mishra. Mr. Mishra also feels that.
We do think that the Congress is important. Congress is a significant player, and there is so much that Congress can do and contribute. But at the same time, we would like the Indian National Congress to understand the political geography of the country. We would like them to understand DMK, RJD, Trinamool Congress.
No, but Mr. Kheda is saying that regional parties have tried this many a times in the past, and maybe he can give a few examples also, that they have not succeeded beyond their beyond their
That is not
karma
correct. In fact, the INC has led the government 3 times under P.V. Narasimha Rao and twice Dr. Manmohan Singh with the support of the regional parties. And I am very astonished to understand that the Congress party does not think the regional parties would be collaborating. What about the JMM? What about Shiv Sena? What about DMK? Do they are not needed? And are they saying that they would not be needing? They would not like to collaborate with the TMC? Should not we have symmetry? Should not we actually be working together so as to unseat the
No, but then
BJP?
see, again,
Therefore,
in the opposition space, and let me ask this question, Mr. Kheda, you were saying that mostly these regional parties are one-state wonders or one-term wonders. Would you like to give us a few examples as to why you feel that this could be a over-enthusiasm on the part of regional parties or smaller parties?
No, I didn't say one state wonder or one term wonder. I said one generation wonder.
One generation.
There is a huge difference.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So you will not see in the north, Akhilesh Ji became the chief minister once, and now he didn't win this election. So in the north, you will not see regional parties
going beyond
after
a
the first generation goes away, or fades away. Mulayam Singh Ji lived long and healthy, but you don't see the next generation doing that well. And even in the south,
Mr. Kheda, would that not be the assumption for the Congress also? Your opponents are going to say the exact same thing?
No. You can't. How can you compare?
That the party is drifting away with a generation?
You can't say this because if Indira Ji, Nehru Ji, Indira Ji, Rajiv Ji, ये तो नहीं कह सकते ना आप. So you can't compare. So there is no comparison. And Mr. Jasmine Shah, I was not attacking you. I was just saying I don't know, and I would like to be educated. What do you stand for? In terms of ideology, in terms of issues, and don't talk about hospitals and schools because I belong to Delhi and I've served the people of Delhi with the Sheila Dikshit government for 15 years. So I know the absolute real face of the hospitals and the schools here. So we are not campaigning. Elections are over. We don't have to fight on आपके स्कूल हमसे बेहतर या हमारे अस्पताल आपसे बेहतर क्योंकि मुझे हकीकत मालूम है दिल्ली की. इसलिए उस पे मत बात करिए. What do you stand for is what I asked.
Let me ask this question. Come on.
कहाँ है जन लोकपाल? तो मुद्दा क्या है?
Jasmine Shah, I'll answer this question. I remember, since 2011, this Jan Lokpal, pass karo, Jan Lokpal was the Aam Aadmi Party's pitch. Even before you became a party, India Against Corruption wanted Jan Lokpal. Where is that Jan Lokpal? Where is that promise? Original promise. First promise.
If there is any political party that the people of India, anywhere in India, still hold hope out for that they will stamp out corruption, it is the Aam Aadmi Party. You brought out Jan Lokpal. Mr. Pawan Khera very well knows. He's a smart politician. He belongs to Delhi. He knows that immediately after the Arvind Kejriwal ji became the chief minister in 2015, within a few months, the Anti-Corruption Bureau and many powers were taken away from the elected government and given to the LG. The Jan Lokpal bill was actually passed by the Delhi Assembly in December 2015. You may not bother to ask BJP कि आपने अब तक आपके LG और आपके MHA ने क्यों approve नहीं किया. We even launched the anti-corruption helpline. Sanketh, you must be aware. In the early days of 2015, the anti-corruption helpline, which now the CM of Punjab has launched, was launched by Delhi CM also. Has been launched by Delhi CM also. Within a month of launch of the helpline,
is different from Jan Lokpal, no? So I understand you have given me an explanation for Delhi, but obviously we'll see what will happen in Punjab. Very quickly, Pawan Kheda's interjection and then Sujata Pandey. Mr. Shant Prakash Jatav of the BJP is now also with us. One by one. Yes, Pawan Kheda's interjection, Sujata Pandey, and then back to you, Mr. Jasmine Shah.
Sanket, they're talking about Jan Lokpal bill. There is something called the Lokayukt in Delhi. Ask him who is the Lokayukt in Delhi today. So I'll be very impressed with him if he tells me who the Lokayukt. 57 complaints against MLAs and officers are pending. लोकायुक्त है ही नहीं साहब. तो मुझे मत समझाइए जास्मीन जी, मैं दिल्ली का नहीं हूं, राजस्थान का हूं, बट दिल्ली को बहुत अच्छी तरह जानता हूं, आपसे ज्यादा अच्छी तरह जानता हूं. लोकायुक्त तो है नहीं. चलें लोकपाल की बात करने, तो मत करिए ना ये सब बातें. यहाँ आप मुझे बताइए मुद्दे क्या हैं आपके, विचारधारा क्या है आपकी. नंबर 1, आप कहते हैं करप्शन हेल्पलाइन खोली आपने. आपकी अपनी कॉर्पोरेटर तो रंगे हाथों पकड़ी गई करप्शन में. क्या हुआ हेल्पलाइन का? ऐसे मत करिए ना, यहाँ प्रचार नहीं चल रहा है, चुनाव हो चुके हैं. Let's talk because it's a very serious subject. Let's focus on the subject.
Saket, it is funny that
Subject
Congress today, which everybody, the people of the country have rejected because of corruption after corruption scams, is today preaching on corruption. He asked me what is the ideology of Aam Aadmi Party. Allow me 30 seconds to answer that. The answer to that was given by CM Arvind Kejriwal ji on the day we won Punjab. We said that we are here to build a India that was dreamt by Baba Saheb Ambedkar and Bhagat Singh. What did they want? They wanted to see an educated nation. Who's today working on education, improving public schooling system in Delhi? Today, not a single person aware about education will challenge Aam Aadmi Party government on that. Who's working on providing equal rights to women? Who's actually making sure that water and electricity is reaching in the corners of Delhi?
You know, in terms of one moment, Aditi Fadnis, I want to come to you now. Do you feel that in your assessment, the opposition would rather fight for supremacy among themselves or fight together against what they are commonly competing against, that is the Bharatiya Janata Party? That seems to be the common goal, no? But I feel that given the first opportunity, there are these little fissures that you see erupting within the opposition ranks.
So look, we know that in UP, for instance, if the opposition had fought in a sincerely and genuinely united way, the division of votes in the opposition would have been prevented. Right now, the Samajwadi Party has gained dramatically, not from the BJP, but from other opposition parties. So if they had been able to stop that from happening and that hemorrhage wouldn't have happened, maybe the result in UP would have been very different today. Now, while it is easy for us to say this, and we are only academic observers, and these people, I have the greatest respect for politicians, and it is very hard to contest an election and win it. So hats off to those who have won it. But the fact is that if you keep on fighting with each other, and there is no unity to to figure out who your biggest enemy is, then you will never nobody will get anywhere.
Okay. Shant Prakash Jatav, I want to come to you now. You have had, there's a swearing in that took place on Friday. Some dramatic decisions that were taken by your political party. उत्तर प्रदेश में आपने बहुत सारी चीजें की. एक चीज जो मैं notice कर रहा था, and this must be brought to the attention of everyone, and there's a very interesting understanding of how the cabinet constitution is vis-a-vis caste in Uttar Pradesh. So there are 8 Brahmin ministers, 6 Rajput ministers, 2 Bhumihars. Out of the 8 Jat leaders who won, Jat MLAs, 5 have been made ministers. So this is even now an attempt to woo the Jats, perhaps in an attempt to consolidate yourself again in West Uttar Pradesh. And 8 ministers from the SC/ST community. मैं आपसे ये जानना चाहता हूँ शांत प्रकाश जी, इतनी शानदार और 2/3 बहुमत टाइप की जीत जिसका आप उल्लेख कर रहे हैं, उसके बाद भी अगर आप बारीकी में जाएं तो ये समझ में आता है कि अभी भी आप जाटों को रिझाने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं. 8 में से 5 लोगों को आपने मंत्री बना दिया कि कहीं पश्चिम उत्तर प्रदेश में फिर से कुछ डामाडोल ना हो जाए. ये 24 की तैयारी नहीं है तो और क्या है?
देखिए, ये देखने की बात है कि ये जो जितने भी बने हैं मंत्री वो उत्तर प्रदेश के हैं या नहीं. अब आप उसमें से जाट ढूंढने लगे या उसमें से
नहीं, मैं नहीं ढूंढ रहा हूं.
ऐसे तो काम नहीं.
दिस इज योर कैबिनेट, दिस इज योर कैबिनेट. मैं नहीं ढूंढ रहा.
तो वो सभी जीते हुए विधायक हैं, तजुर्बेकार हैं, उनको आगे बढ़ाना है, उनसे काम लेना है.
मिस्टर जाटव,
कितना बेहतरीन हमने काम दिया पीछे.
15 long days to arrive to this day. मैं नहीं मानता कि ऐसे ही फैसला ले लिया होगा. बहुत सोच और समझ लगाई गई होगी बीजेपी द्वारा.
नहीं,
ऐसे ही थोड़ी 5 विधायक आपके मंत्री बन गए जाटों में से.
नहीं, ऐसा इस कैबिनेट का सम्मान है और इसमें जातियां ढूंढना ठीक नहीं है, धर्म ढूंढना ठीक नहीं है.
पक्का
इनके काम देखने की आवश्यकता है, इसमें काम देखने की आवश्यकता है और काम कराना अपने
काम वगैरह वो आप बात सही है. केशव प्रसाद मौर्य ओबीसी फेस, ब्रजेश पाठक द न्यू ब्राह्मण फेस, हर चीज जो है वो बड़े नाप के आपने।
देखिए, केशव प्रसाद मौर्य जी के पास में एक बहुत अच्छा तजुर्बा है और प्रदेश जो है उससे महरूम नहीं रहना चाहिए, इसलिए 2-3 हजार
माय पॉइंट है। शान प्रकाश जी, मैं एक सवाल आपसे पूछना चाहता हूं, एंड नाउ we have Mr. Wahab Raza, समाजवादी पार्टी सपोर्टर, also with us. Welcome Wahab जी। मेरा सवाल उत्तर प्रदेश के संदर्भ में बस यही है कि अगर सारी चीजें, वहाब जी, if everything was so sorted, do you feel that the SP chief would not have been forced to take this decision of going back to UP, and the BJP would not have been forced to realign its entire cabinet?
Sir, honestly, I would like to correct you on one thing, that our party president, Shri Akhilesh Yadav ji, was not forced to take a decision. This is all in accordance to prepare for the 2024 elections.
Correct. That's exactly my point.
Yes, sir.
So you want to prepare for 2024, and that's why this crucial decision had to be taken. You can't prepare for 2024 sitting in the Lok Sabha.
Sir, honestly, as far as the BJP is concerned, we would like to tell that I don't know why they are thinking that this is a clean sweep for them after losing almost 50 seats in the UP election. And also there has been such a huge increase in the vote share of the Samajwadi Party.
But you know, Wahab ji, the thing in politics is that there are no consolation prizes. You may have gained, but you have not gained enough to be in power. They may have lost, but they have not lost enough to be out of power. And that is how things are. And this is why it forces both of you to think about 2024. You know, I think the UP 2024 script will be written in the Vidhan Sabha and not in the Lok Sabha. The Lok Sabha elections, the script for that will be Patkatha jo hai, wo Vidhan Sabha mein likhi jayegi.
So, we can already see that in the BJP's party circle also, that there has been this clash between Yogi ji and Modi ji in terms of selecting the ministers or the cabinet ministers.
Oh, so you're counting on the fishers, are you?
Sir,
that there'll be fractions, there'll be differences, and then the SP will gain.
Sir, everybody can see that. Nobody is blind. Everybody can see that there is a huge...
Mr. Mishra is smiling. Let me go to the TMC. Mr. Mishra, you see, one of the tag that the BJP used against the Samajwadi Party was law and order kharab ho jayega. Gunde aa jayenge. Right? This was one of the planks. First, it started with Hindu-Muslim. Then by the second phase, it became law and order. Now, given the situation in Birbhum, do you fear that this will be the same thing used against you?
Well,
you will be questioned because law and order is a state subject. Birbhum was your responsibility, Mamata Banerjee's responsibility.
See, two parts. One about the UP, that there was a discussion. I can tell you that just find out that how many political and other murders have taken place in the last 48 hours in Uttar Pradesh. Now, here in West Bengal, we have a responsible government, and horrendous incident has taken place, and we are doing everything possible so as to bring justice for the people who have suffered. And so, therefore, BJP, of course, they will raise questions. It is the job of the opposition. But you should also realize that the BJP, which had 38% vote in the Vidhan Sabha election, in all the subsequent elections, their vote share is now just about 20-25. So BJP's story in Bengal is already over. And so therefore, we do expect, a tussle, a competition. But so far as that is in the political realm.
But let's talk about your national ambitions. You tell me, do you think that the Trinamool Congress will take time? You will not be ready. So, see, the point is, you may look at what happened in Goa. You know, you had big plans for Goa. I am telling you what has happened
in Goa. I was very much involved in Goa.
Phir kya hua?
In Goa, we expected the Congress that they will accommodate us, that we will work together. They refused to. And so far as our vote share is concerned, 5.7%, which is actually slightly ahead of the Aam Aadmi Party, because they were contesting all the 40 seats. We contested 26 seats. Our partner, they also have about 8% vote share. So the point here is that the Congress, I agree with Aditi Fadnavis ji, that opposition parties, they should unite. We must build up the agenda.
How
And
should
that
you
is what I
unite?
have
Should
been
that not
saying.
be happening right now? Let me ask you
No,
this question,
that
Jasmine Shah.
could happen.
Jasmine Shah,
That
while
could happen.
while
That is
smaller
what we
parties,
would expect.
while regional parties and smaller parties are
We are
finding
not
their
that
space
regional. You know, Bengal
in
is
this
42 Lok Sabha
giant
seats.
ocean of politics. Yeah, one moment. Jasmine Shah, as many smaller parties are finding their space, do you think that for you it will serve better if this effort were concerted? And whose responsibility is it? For instance, the Trinamool Congress clearly blamed the Congress party that we wanted an alliance, they did not enter into an alliance in Goa. I'll get Mr. Kheda on this, but what's your view? Where is that brainstorming in the opposition? I don't think that has happened.
Sanket, I think this is a very narrow view of politics.
Narrow view,
No
okay.
voter goes to the, and allow me to explain.
Yeah.
No voter goes to the voting booth because he says, I want to vote for the person or the party who's filling the anti-Modi vacuum. No, they vote because they see leadership. They vote because they see hope for the future in the party that they are voting for. And that is precisely the reason, Congress crying and saying, Aam Aadmi Party हमारा वोट काट रही है, TMC crying and saying, आप हमारे साथ जुड़ जाओ. ये जोड़ तोड़ की राजनीति से लोग उब चुके हैं. People want delivery, people want performance. And that is why the Delhi model of governance has endeared itself in the hearts of the people. People today trust Arvind Kejriwal that if we vote him, उनको अगर हम एक मौका देंगे, they will fix our schools, education, bijli, pani, they will give benefits to women.
Here's the thing, Jasmine Shah, something very interesting was told to me by a person who has in Uttar Pradesh got a very, very big promotion in the UP cabinet. And he said that look at our example in the BJP, Mr. Kheda. He said, look at our example in the BJP, that in the 80s, a lot of people, lakhs of people used to come and listen to Atal Bihari Vajpayee. But it never translated into votes. Similarly, for many people in the opposition to think that the sheer number of people in their rallies or the size of the groundswell of support is going to convert into votes is not possible. This was also a commentary on the Congress party. For instance, your campaign in Uttar Pradesh.
I agree. I mean, don't think that our leaders also got waylaid, इतना भीड़ आ गई तो हम जीत रहे हैं, ऐसा किसी के मन में कोई गलतफहमी नहीं होती. लीडर जो जुड़ा हुआ होता है उसको समझ में आ जाता है, this crowd is here, may not translate into votes. So yes, I agree with you. And the complexion of campaign has changed beyond recognition. कहां तो बोट क्लब में रैली हो जाती थी दिल्ली में, आज रामलीला मैदान भरना किसी के लिए भी संभव नहीं. Things have changed now. People are more onto digital platforms. People are more dependent on WhatsApp, Twitter, Facebook. अब वो campaign का पूरा complexion बदल गया. So, and I want to respond to Mr. O.P. Mishra. Mishra ji, nobody, I mean, I personally feel that हिंदुस्तान में जब अलायंस पॉलिटिक्स चलती है, डिलीवरी बेटर होती है, सरकारें बेहतर काम करती है. आप मनमोहन सिंह जी के वक्त का जीडीपी उठा लीजिए, अलायंस पॉलिटिक्स चलती थी, अकाउंटेबिलिटी होती थी, जीडीपी कितना अच्छा था. आज का जीडीपी देख लीजिए, बैठे हैं भारतीय जनता पार्टी के साथी हमारे. सो आई कंप्लीटली एग्री विथ यू. अलायंस पॉलिटिक्स makes politics governance more accountable and gives proper representation to different regions, different identities, different groups. So I'm all for alliance politics. We can't
when questions are asked of the Congress party of playing the big brother, as Mr. Mishra just accused, he didn't use those words. He didn't use those words, but that's exactly according to him what happened in Goa. Now just imagine, he says the TMC got 5% vote share. Now imagine if this were part, sorry?
5.7.
5.7% vote share. You club this with your vote share. Would the situation in Goa have been different?
No, I would not reduce it to such a simple formula. No. Vote transferability, 2017 का यूपी इलेक्शन ले लीजिए. We were in alliance with समाजवादी पार्टी. हुआ क्या ट्रांसफर वोट? So it's very simple. अरे साहब ये कर देते तो वो हो जाता है, ऐसा नहीं होता है. Like politics is not so simple कि 5% वो ऐड हो जाता. क्यों होता है? क्या पता नहीं होता.
Anyway, हम लोगों ने आपसे रिक्वेस्ट किया था.
This is मिश्रा जी, मेरे को आपकी आवाज नहीं आ रही, तो मुझे नहीं समझ में आ रहा आप क्या बोल रहे हैं.
But how do you get the opposition space together? If your goal is common, Sujata Pandey, Sujata Pandey, are these the exact same fissures which the BJP loves?
Well, Sanket, you don't need to go anywhere. This is evident right from this panel. You know, everybody is showing everybody's weakness and they are logging head over each other. But nobody is calling for the elephant in the room. The fact is, Pawan Keraji knows that he's not calling out the elephant in the room. Is about the Congress party. Congress party analyzing itself, its leadership. And the biggest part, they are talking about that going in alliance, etc. Didn't we see that in 2019? What happened? You know, so in the voters itself are very educated today. You know, they know that they do not want to vote for alliance which are done by Yen Ken Prakar and Fevicol and Feviquick Jod. You know, and once you know they are divided on the issues, they are divided on the narratives, they are divided on the issues within they fight within themselves in the state elections, etc. The cadres are divided on the ideology. How can you expect them to come together? And these are the classic example. Like I said, you don't need to go anywhere. Look at here. You know, the Samajwadi Party is talking about Congress is talking about TMC is talking about AAP. So you know, how will they have a common agenda? Sorry,
but we are all talking against the BJP, so don't worry.
And that is what
and we will know how to work out.
Please have little decency, okay? Okay. So I'm saying this is what the opposition has become. The opposition is nothing but a narrative of being anti-BJP. They do not have a strong face, which is common, unified, accepted by all. They do not have a strong narrative, and they do not even have policy clarities of national interest and issues. For example, what is the policy of TMC on foreign policies, Article 370, unification of the rivers, irrigation, power, etc. Because they are fighting within themselves, you know. And
you know, a lot of questions will be asked of the present government also. That most of the policies that India is following right now are the old policies that already existed. For instance, in this Russia-Ukraine crisis, what is the foreign policy that we have followed? Non-aligned movement. Who started non-aligned movement? See, this is a very complicated, long discussion.
I am not getting into who's doing
countries have a policy. Governments have a policy, not parties.
These do not have a common consensus on lot of factors.
Yeah, okay. Quick closing comments. Aditi Fadnis, do you feel that 2 years is a good enough time for the opposition to come together? Or do you think that we will see a repeat of what happened in the run-up to 2019 happening again in the run-up to 2024?
I don't know if we'll see a repeat of what happened in 2019.
No, I'm talking about opposition unity.
Yeah, so am I.
Okay.
I don't know whether 2019, what happened in 2019 will recur ahead of 2024. And equally, I don't know whether it will take 2 years or 20 years or 22 years for all the egos in the opposition to suspend them and to figure out that we have to evolve a common platform and we have to evolve a common agenda. We've seen this happen in the past. It's not that it cannot happen, and on those occasions it was the BJP which was part of these alliances.
Correct.
It would be, in my view, humbly I would suggest that it would be very unwise for the BJP to sneer at such alliances.
Correct.
There have been times in the past when the BJP has been part of it. But I don't know, it will take a lot of effort and a lot of internal thinking for things to reach a point where there can be a common slate.
I think it's expectation management. Who is stronger where? I think that's the real analysis that needs to happen, on the basis of which you decide.
How the data works, Sanket.
Because everybody thinks that they're fine.
Yeah.
And that's not
and I agree with you. Yeah. I agree with you that an alliance brings much more to the table in terms of representation than one party who's one size fits all.
Okay, I've run out of time. Thank you very much to all my panelists for joining us. Hopefully we'll have many more debates, as we have exactly 2 years for the 2024 contest. Thank you very much. At this moment, I would like to introduce our next guest. He's the Aam Aadmi Party Rajya Sabha MP, Mr. Sanjay Singh. Mr. Singh, good evening. Thank you so much for joining us. My first question to you, Mr. Singh, is the Aam Aadmi Party is extremely hopeful in expansion mode. You have done well in Punjab. Congratulations, well done. But do you feel that, Arvind Kejriwal having this confidence, उन्होंने जब विधानसभा में बोला, the manner in which he attacked the Prime Minister almost made it appear that this is a Kejriwal versus Modi fight more than anything else for 2024. Do you think that this is an unwise assessment? आप लोगों ने अपने आप को कहीं ज्यादा तो नहीं आंक दिया?
देखिए संकेत जी, मुझे तो वो भी दिन याद है कि जब 2011 में ये सारी राजनीतिक पार्टियां, वो चाहे बीजेपी हो या कांग्रेस हो, अरविंद केजरीवाल जी से कहते थे हिम्मत है तो राजनीति करके दिखाओ, हिम्मत है तो चुनाव लड़के दिखाओ, हिम्मत है तो विधानसभा में पहुंच के, संसद में पहुंच के दिखाओ। और इस देश की जनता ने यह बताया कि लोकतंत्र में अहंकार नहीं चलता। आम आदमी की ताकत है, वो जिसको चाहे विधानसभा में पहुंचा दे और जिसको चाहे लोकसभा में पहुंचा दे, जिसको चाहे जमानतें जब्त करा दे। और ये इस देश के आम आदमी ने साबित करके दिखाया। 3 बार दिल्ली का मुख्यमंत्री अरविंद केजरीवाल को बनाया। पंजाब में 10 साल के अंदर, 10 साल का सफर है, कोई हमारा बहुत लंबा सफर नहीं है। 4 हमारे सांसद एक बार आए पंजाब में, फिर 1 सांसद आए, फिर हमारी 22 सीटें विधानसभा में आई, मुख्य विपक्षी दल बने और वहां 92 सीटें आई। तो ये सफर लगातार आगे बढ़ता जा रहा है। आम आदमी पार्टी का एक्सपेंशन अपने आप धीरे धीरे एक प्रक्रिया के तहत हर राज्य में हो रहा है। गोवा जैसे सुदूर राज्य में हमको 2 एमएलए की सीट मिल गई। उत्तराखंड में हम चुनाव लड़े, उत्तर प्रदेश में हम चुनाव लड़े, हमने अपनी प्रेजेंस बनाई, वहां पे अपनी बातें लोगों तक पहुंचाई। ये बात ठीक है कि वहां हमें सीटें नहीं मिली, लेकिन आम आदमी पार्टी का एक्सपेंशन देश के अलग अलग हिस्सों में हो रहा है, विस्तार हो रहा है। कारण है उसके पीछे अरविंद केजरीवाल का दिल्ली मॉडल। लोग चाहते हैं बेहतर शिक्षा, लोग चाहते हैं बेहतर इलाज, लोग चाहते हैं कि ये तमाम जो उनकी जिंदगी की जरूरतें हैं वो मुफ्त में उनको मिले या न्यूनतम दाम पे उनको मिले। और उसके बावजूद मुनाफे का बजट देने वाली सरकार केजरीवाल जी की सरकार। इसका मतलब
अब संजय जी, मैं एक सवाल आपसे पूछना चाहता हूं। देखिए, ऐसा है,
नहीं है, नीयत में कमी है।
आप कह रहे हैं ग्राउंड तैयार किया जा रहा है, उत्तर प्रदेश में भी ग्राउंड तैयार हुआ, लगातार एक्सपेंशन मोड में, एंड दिस इज एकदम काबिले तारीफ है फॉर अ पार्टी इन अ मैटर ऑफ 8.5 years टू विन दिल्ली थ्राइस, टू विन हैव अ मैसिव मैंडेट इन पंजाब इज कमेंडेबल। बट संजय सिंह जी, मेरा सवाल फिर से वही है, टू रियलाइज कि आप कब और किस तरीके से बढ़ रहे हैं और उससे पंचिंग वे अबव योर वेट, डू यू थिंक इज गोइंग टू क्रिएट फिशर्स इन द ऑपोजिशन स्पेस? मसलन आपका और समाजवादी पार्टी का अलायंस, यू आर इन कॉन्टैक्ट विद अखिलेश यादव। अपेरेंटली द डील डिड नॉट गो थ्रू बिकॉज आपने जरूरत से ज्यादा ही सीट मांग ली। मे बी यू आर नॉट प्रिपेयर्ड, उन्होंने आपको दिया नहीं। अब यही चीज 2024 में
नहीं,
भी
तो मुझे लगता है ये जानकारी अगर नहीं, पहली बात तो एक बात ये समझिए कि ये जानकारी अगर आपको किसी ने दी है तो बिल्कुल गलत जानकारी दी है। मैंने उनसे कोई सीट की डील या कोई ज्यादा नंबर या कोई ऐसा दबाव उनके ऊपर बनाने की बात नहीं की। हाँ, ये जरूर कहा कि एक ऐसा मॉडल हो जहां पे फ्री बिजली लोगों को मिल सके, बेरोजगारी भत्ता 5,000 रुपए महीने मिल सके। इन तमाम मुद्दों पे एक एक करके उनसे बात हुई। सीटों के कारण कोई गठबंधन टूटा या बातचीत नहीं बनी, ऐसी जानकारी अगर आपको है तो वो गलत जानकारी है। पहली बात तो मैं ये क्लियर कर देना चाहता हूं। और दूसरी बात ये है कि समाजवादी पार्टी ने 3 प्रयोग किया। कांग्रेस पार्टी के साथ उन्होंने गठबंधन किया, चुनाव हार गए। बीएसपी के साथ उन्होंने गठबंधन किया, चुनाव हार गए। 2022 में उन्होंने कई दलों के साथ गठबंधन किया और फिर भी चुनाव हार गए। तो इसमें हमारा क्या दोष है? इसमें हमारी क्या गलती है? हमने तो भारतीय जनता पार्टी के खिलाफ जमकर लड़ाई लड़ी, तमाम मुद्दे वहां पर उठाए। राम मंदिर के जमीन खरीद के घोटाले से लेकर, जल जीवन मिशन में हुए घोटाले से लेकर, कोरोना की महामारी में हुए घोटाले से लेकर तमाम मुद्दे। और 21 मुकदमे संकेत जी मेरे खिलाफ योगी आदित्यनाथ जी ने किए। मेरे पार्टी का दफ्तर खाली करा दिया, राष्ट्रद्रोह का मुकदमा लगाया, 150 पुलिस वालों के साथ मुझे सीतापुर में गिरफ्तार किया गया। ऐसी तमाम घटनाएं, कितना उल्लेख करूं।
संजय जी,
सारे मुद्दे को हम
ये
लोगों ने
कहना
उठाया,
है
अपनी
कि
लड़ाई लड़ी, हम चुनाव लड़े 352 सीटों
पर। आपका ये कहना है कि लोग दिल्ली का एक मॉडल
मैं ये कहना चाहता हूं कि
प्रभावित हो रहे हैं। आपका ये कहना है दिल्ली का मॉडल देख करके उसी के तर्ज पर लोग पार्टी को एक्सेप्ट कर रहे हैं। लेकिन अगर आप ग्रो करेंगे तो जाहिर सी बात है कोई कम होगा।
जी हाँ।
तो आपके हिसाब से हु विल यू फीड इनटू और फीड फ्रॉम, फीड ऑफ?
देखिए,
आप समाजवादी
पार्टी होगा, कौन ज्यादा होगा,
हाँ।
ये तो इस देश, मैं ये कह रहा हूं कि कौन कम होगा कौन ज्यादा होगा, तो ये तो इस देश की जनता के ऊपर हमें छोड़ देना चाहिए। और दूसरी बात यह है कि भारतीय जनता पार्टी वहां शासन में थी, योगी आदित्यनाथ जी का शासन था। उस सरकार के खिलाफ ईमानदारी से जमीन पर लड़ने का काम किसने किया? वोट नहीं मिला, सीटें नहीं मिली, वो बातें अभी छोड़ देते हैं। वो लड़ाई आम आदमी पार्टी ने एक मुख्य विपक्षी दल के रूप में भूमिका उत्तर प्रदेश के अंदर हमने निभाई। समाजवादी पार्टी ने तमाम गठबंधन, मैंने बताया तो 2017 का गठबंधन, 2019 का बीएसपी के साथ गठबंधन, और अभी कई दलों के साथ
पिक्चर की अगर बात करें,
अब ये एस्टैब्लिश हो गया कि समाजवादी पार्टी सारे प्रयोग करके भी
अभी क्या है, आप राजस्थान में भी एक्सपैंड कर रहे हैं, यूपी में भी और भी जगह। इट्स नेचुरल, एनी पार्टी शुड हैव दोज एक्सपेक्टेशंस। तृणमूल कांग्रेस को लगता है कि मोदी को अगर कोई टक्कर दे सकता है तो वो है टीएमसी। आई थिंक यू हैव सिमिलर एक्सपेक्टेशंस ऑफ योरसेल्फ। ऐसे में टक्कर देगा कौन?
सबको रखने का हक है संकेत जी। राजनीतिक दल में अगर कोई काम कर रहा है, कोई राजनीतिक पार्टी है और उसको लगता है कि हमारे मुद्दे अच्छे हैं, हमने जनता के लिए अच्छा काम किया है। पंजाब में भी अभी सरकार बनी है, भगवंत मान जी भी वहां लगातार बहुत अच्छे जनहित के फैसले ले रहे हैं। तो सभी राजनीतिक दलों को अपना विस्तार करने का हक है, सबको आगे बढ़ने का हक है, सबको अपनी नीतियां लोगों तक पहुंचाने का हक है। वो हक हमें भी हासिल है।
लेकिन आलोचना
तो हम अगर
सहने का भी हक होना चाहिए।
कर रहे हैं,
आपके ऊपर आरोप ये भी लगते हैं कि वहां भगवंत मान ने पहले तो दुनिया जहां के वादे कर दिए जनता से, और उसके बाद फिर केंद्र में आकर के उन्होंने एक स्पेशल राहत पैकेज की मांग कर दी कि हमें इतने का पैकेज दे दीजिए। ये सब सवाल
अच्छा, कौन सा राज्य, कौन सी राज्य सरकार है जो प्रधानमंत्री से मांग नहीं करती संकेत जी? ये किस प्रकार का तर्क है? मतलब हर राज्य के मुख्यमंत्री को केंद्र सरकार से मांग करने का भी हक नहीं है। दिल्ली में हमको 327 करोड़ के अलावा कुछ नहीं देते ये लोग। हम अपने जीएसटी का शेयर पाने के लिए महीनों महीने इनके सामने चक्कर काटते रहते हैं। तो एक राज्य के मुख्यमंत्री अपने राज्य की स्थिति के बारे में अगर प्रधानमंत्री जी से बात करने के लिए आए हैं, तो इस देश में तो संघीय ढांचा है ना,
मेरा
फेडरल स्ट्रक्चर है
संजय जी।
वो कहते हैं भाई हमें हर जगह मिलके काम करना चाहिए। तो हमारे राज्य के मुख्यमंत्री, पंजाब के मुख्यमंत्री ने कुछ मांग की प्रधानमंत्री जी से, इसमें गलत क्या है?
मेरा
पंजाब की जनता के हित में।
और मैं जानता हूं
भगवंत मान के खाते में 50,000
मैं चाहता हूं कि आप बातें जो हैं वो बहुत ही एक राजनीतिक तरह से एक बात होती है और एक होती है एकदम सीधी सपाट बात। आप दोनों ही बात करना जानते हैं वक्त को देख करके। तो मैं चाहता हूं कि आप सीधा जवाब दें, और जवाब ये है, डू यू फील दैट द आम आदमी पार्टी विल बी द नेचुरल चॉइस इन द ऑपोजिशन इन 2024 टू द बीजेपी?
बिल्कुल, इसमें कहीं कोई संदेह रखना ही नहीं चाहिए हमें। इसमें कहीं कोई संदेह नहीं होना चाहिए। आम आदमी पार्टी आज की तारीख में, आम आदमी पार्टी का फुटप्रिंट्स देश के हर हिस्से में है। अरविंद केजरीवाल के मॉडल की प्रशंसा और तारीफ करने वाले लोग आपको कश्मीर से कन्याकुमारी तक हर जगह मिल जाएंगे। अरविंद केजरीवाल को राष्ट्रीय विकल्प के रूप में इस देश की जनता देख रही है। तो हम अपनी बातें लोगों तक कह रहे हैं, लोगों तक पहुंचा रहे हैं, चुनाव दर चुनाव, एक राज्य के बाद दूसरे राज्य में पूरी मेहनत के साथ चुनाव लड़ रहे हैं। कहीं हमें तुरंत सफलता मिलेगी, कहीं थोड़ा विलंब से मिलेगी। और ये तो सारी राजनीतिक पार्टियों के साथ होता है। कब से लड़ रहे हैं? जनसंघ के जमाने से, बीजेपी के जमाने से। केरल में भारतीय जनता पार्टी वाले दुनिया की सबसे बड़ी पार्टी कहते हैं अपने आप को। एक सीट भी नहीं आई इस बार। उनकी तमिलनाडु में जमानतें जब्त होती हैं उनकी। अभी आप सोचिए, पंजाब में लंबे समय तक दुनिया की सबसे बड़ी पार्टी बीजेपी सरकार में रही लंबे समय तक, और 73 सीट पे वो लड़े अमरिंदर सिंह जी के साथ गठबंधन करके, जो 5 साल मुख्यमंत्री रहे,
हार गए।
और उनकी 55 जगह पे जमानत जब्त हो गई।
ठीक है,
55 जगह पे जमानत जब्त हुई 73 में से।
ओके, रनिंग आउट ऑफ टाइम।
तो इसलिए पार्टियां धीरे धीरे बढ़ेंगी और आप देख लीजिए, जो लोग केजरीवाल को चैलेंज देते थे, हिम्मत है तो चुनाव लड़के दिखाओ, आज वो लोग चुनाव से भाग रहे हैं। देश के प्रधानमंत्री जिनका सीना 56 इंच का है, जो दुनिया के सबसे बड़े लोकतंत्र के प्रधानमंत्री हैं, जो प्रधानमंत्री दुनिया की सबसे बड़ी पार्टी के प्रधानमंत्री हैं, आज वो प्रधानमंत्री दिल्ली की एमसीडी में चुनाव से भाग रहे हैं, कह रहे हैं हम केजरीवाल जी को नहीं आने देंगे, हम खुद एमसीडी चलाएंगे।
रनिंग आउट ऑफ टाइम,
सारे देश का काम छोड़ के एमसीडी चलाएंगे।
थैंक यू सो मच संजय जी फॉर जॉइनिंग अस ऑन द बिग फाइट। Thank you very much for your time. Thank you. Let's take some comments on the coup app also. Shankar says it will be a battle between elephant and ant in 2024. Deepak Bharat says, how will the Modi-Yogi Shah trio fare in the 2024 Lok Sabha elections in a state with the most seats, 80 for the BJP, with inflation and unemployment returning to haunt the party, and small opposition party is going to any length to cross-cut socio-economic issues. Well, these are views of our viewers on the coup app. Thank you very much for watching. Good night and goodbye.